Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're taking a deep plunge into a concept that, well, business schools just love, the service guarantee.
It's a classic, isn't it?
Absolutely. A really high-leverage strategy you see highlighted in places like the Harvard Business Review. We're talking about the ultimate business commitment, really. A promise of excellence backed by absolute liability.
And while that HBR paper is brilliant business analysis, I mean, we're talking about the 1988 McKinsey Award winner by Christopher Hart. Our mission today is to look at it through a completely different lens.
Okay.
We're going to dissect this strategy using the zero-point field model, focusing specifically on the physical rendering unit, or PRU.
Right. Let's unpack that for everyone right away. For anyone tuning in who might be a bit new to our framework, when we talk about the PRU, we mean the company's operating system for reality.
That's a great way to put it.
It's the engine, that renders the intention of the organization into actual physical results. Sales, operations, employee performance, all of it.
Exactly. And the high-level insight we're chasing is this. We're exploring how an unconditional business promise can act as a mechanism to forcefully upgrade that reality engine.
So the guarantee isn't for the customer, not really.
In this context, it's not just a marketing ploy, no. It's a guarantee-driven management system designed to force the organization's whole system to evolve, to reach a higher level of performance.
So you're saying the mechanism that Hart identified as just managerial is actually an energetic forcing function. It just compels better outcomes. It's a system correction device.
Precisely. If you only see it as a tool to attract customers, you miss its most profound power, which is all about internal system correction.
Okay, so let's ground this in the business foundation first from the HBR paper. The core argument is that the guarantee is a mechanism to evolve the company's internal system. It's like a deliberate design constraint on quality.
And what's fascinating is how the sources lay out these two totally different management models. Under what they call normal management, the default is, well, it's defensiveness. Protection, yeah. A mistake is just a cost you can't get back. A customer claim is an enemy you have to fight. And the response is always to blame people, hide the failure, and act out of fear.
We've all seen that, or felt that. It's management driven by the organizational ego, what we call the me.
It is pure me-driven defense. But under guaranteed management, the whole system flips. The commitment itself redefines everything. A mistake is suddenly valuable data.
Oh, okay.
A claim is now an improvement, hint like a perfect log file from your system. And the only possible response is to fix the underlying process, visualize the flaw, and correct it systemically. The guarantee is the financial and psychological push that forces that shift.
So in purely strategic terms, the HBR conclusion is pretty clear then. The guarantee isn't an expense, it's an investment in excellence. And the ultimate marketing is really just one thing, the removal of risk. You just take all the risk on yourself.
And this isn't just theory. The sources give us this legendary case study that shows the power of going to this extreme unconditional place. Bugsburger Bug Killers, BBBK.
This Miami-based pest control company, I mean, they really pushed the absolute boundary of commitment. Their guarantee wasn't some fine print, it was their whole identity. And it was so unconditional, which is what makes the results so compelling.
They basically put their entire financial existence on the line. It was, what, 4 absurdly generous promises.
Let's go through them because they sound insane. First, they charged no fee at all until the pests were completely gone.
Right.
But here's the ticker. If a customer was dissatisfied, BBBK didn't just refund up to a year of fees. They also paid for the customer's choice of a competitor's service for the next full year. They literally paid their rival.
It's unbelievable. And if you were a commercial client, like a restaurant, and you got shut down because of pests, BBBK would pay you up to $5,000 for damages. Think about that operational risk.
Any rational CFO would look at that and just say, this is business suicide. I mean, you calculate the expected cost of failure and run away. And on top of all that, they charged the highest price in the industry, up to 10 times their competitors.
Yet the results just. They defy that logic. They got a dominant market share, $33 million in sales back in 1986. And here's the number that matters. They only paid out $120,000 in compensation that year.
Wait, hold on. They pay a competitor, they promise $5,000, they charge 10 times the price, but the failure rate is negligible. Is it just selection bias? Are they just picking customers who are less likely to complain in the first place?
That is the skeptical, me-driven when every manager asks. But the data says otherwise. That tiny payout against $33 million in sales proves the guarantee wasn't a risk. It was a device to force the PRU to fix itself to a positive world line.
Ah.
The commitment was so painful, the consequences so high, that the staff, the processes, every single part of the system was forced to focus intensely on quality, just to avoid paying that compensation. It was a forced awakening.
And that takes us right into the ZPF translation. We see the service engine as the intention, or the I, choosing a future. The PRU renders it, and then the ego, or me, comes in and muddies the output. How does the guarantee stop that muddling?
It acts as a real-time feedback mechanism, a very painful one. It forces the organization to take those real-world logs, complaints, failures, refunds, and feed them immediately back into the PRU system.
So it becomes this closed, self-correcting loop.
And crucially, it creates a circuit that makes it impossible for the company's PRU to lie to itself. Claims have to be visible. Refunds can't be hidden. Failures become usable data for debugging right now. This constant mandatory correction compels the reality engine to fix distortions until it aligns with the core intention, 100% excellence.
That's why you say it's beyond marketing.
Yeah.
By taking the risk, you remove the customer's me-driven fear. You let their genuine intention, their I, move forward. That friction we see, like a cancellation or a no-show, that's just a me-based self-defense reaction.
That's it exactly. The guarantee is a filter removal device. It bypasses those MEOS defenses that make people escape or disappear in 24 hours. You transfer the risk, and the resistance just dissolves.
Let's spend some time on the specific ways this works. You call it the threefold alignment, right? The synchronization of the I and the me across the whole organization.
This is where the magic really happens, because it affects the customer, the staff, and the operational system all at the same time.
Okay, let's start with the customer. Disarming the customer's me, which causes things like cancellations and no-shows.
The root of those issues is always the customer's internal fear. It's an unconscious resistance to change. The inner process looks something like this. The I says, I want this change, but the me immediately fires back, but I'm scared of making a mistake.
Right.
And when a normal system says, decide now or in 24 hours, the me just panics. The physical result is escape, a no-show. It's pure self-defense against what it perceives as future pain.
So how does the guarantee get into that internal conversation?
It injects reassurance, or what we would call love. It says to the customer, it is okay to fail. We will protect you completely. The company voluntarily takes on that entire fear energy from the customer.
It transforms fear into assurance.
Exactly. And by doing that, it removes the internal block to action. It secures the booking, the conversion. And that's why the guarantee has to be unconditional to get past the me's skeptical defenses.
That transfer of risk is so powerful. Okay, so what about the staff? How does it transform them? We often see this internal conflict, the I must sell pressure versus the question of am I really helping? It creates what you call muddied energy.
It does. And that leads to inconsistent performance. But the strong, unconditional promise from the company forces the staff's consciousness to shift. They stop focusing on selling, which is a taking energy.
And they start focusing on
keeping an absolute promise, which is a giving, committing energy. The company is taking the ultimate risk, which removes the staff's own me-based anxiety. They can stop worrying about high-pressure tactics and just focus purely on serving the customer. It aligns them directly with the pure I and intention of delivering value. It cleanses the sales energy.
Okay, finally, the operational debugging part. Operational problems like low conversion rates are a sign of a structural flaw, a lack of what you call systemic love. How does a guarantee fix the source code?
This is maybe the most practical piece of it. Refunds are not losses. They are highly sensitive sensors that detect clogs in the PRU, impurities in the system. The source talks about the Manpower case, the huge staffing company.
What was the specific data point the guarantee gave them? What did they find?
They realized their problem wasn't their people. It was their source code, the testing software and databases they used to assess and place candidates. Every single guarantee payout was traced back not to an employee mistake, but to an error in the system's core assumptions. They used that data to correct their skills testing software, their placement rules, their training databases.
So the pain of the refund forced them to evolve their system's fundamental design, not just put a bandage on the symptoms.
That's it. The organization becomes an automatic purification system. It is forced to correct itself toward customer-defined excellence just to avoid the pain of refunds. It doesn't have to rely on a manager's me-driven guess about what should be fixed. The system corrects itself.
This brings us perfectly to the conclusion and that powerful metaphor from the source material. The forward posture in skiing.
It's such a great visual. If you ski with a rearward posture driven by the me, you're hesitant. You're always thinking, what if I fail?
And you lose control. Your edges don't grip and you crash, which is the corporate version of cancellation, low conversion, all of it.
For the forward posture, the I, the guarantee that requires 100% commitment, you lean fully into the flow. That posture is what gives you maximum grip, speed, and control because you're trusting the flow, whether it's gravity on a mountain or market needs in business.
So the HBR ZPF switch is clear. This kind of action isn't about improving sales metrics. It's about repairing a system that lacks love and fully activating the PRU.
It's a switch from an expectation-based PRU, which is always fearing failure, to an intention-based PRU, which commits unconditionally to the higher outcome.
So the physical act of putting that guarantee out in the world, it's a genuine switch. It commits your reality engine to a higher standard and forces a world-line change.
And that leads us to a final provocative thought for you to take with you. The source material notes that the biggest barrier to implementing this is often the me-driven fear of the 1% of fraudulent customers. We get so focused on protecting ourselves from that tiny fraction that we use it as a brake against the vast trust and alignment needed for the other 99%. So think about this. What greater reality, what superior PRU output is currently being blocked in your business or even your life? Because you're prioritizing that small fear over the potential for massive unconditional trust and systemic excellence. What could you commit to?